Hi Cliff. Today I'm going to show you some steps on how to make homemade bread. This is another indoor activity that me and Miss Shevchek love to do. So step one, you want to get 2.5 cups of flour. Doesn't have to be exact, but you need at least 2.5 cups of flour. So there's one. Close up. 2, and it's about a half. Now that we have that, you need a packet of yeast. So just 1 packet of yeast. So what we're doing here is just mixing up all the dry ingredients first.
What does the yeast do, Mr. Riggs?
The yeast helps the dough rise, and that makes for good bread. And then we need about a teaspoon of salt. Put that right in there. Now we're gonna mix up the dry ingredients. And that looks pretty good. So what we're gonna do next is add in the wet ingredients. So we need about 1.5 cups of lukewarm water. So not too cold or not too hot, kind of just in the middle. One cup is about 1/2 cup. Now we need it's a tablespoon of olive oil.
So for that, just about a spoonful.
Now we're gonna mix it all up. Come over.
Get a nice close-up for you, kids. If you want to be messy, you can always use your hands.
Well, first you just want to bind everything together, and then we'll start using our hands here in a minute. It's gonna kind of start getting tough to turn, and that's a good thing. And at that point we want to make sure our surface is all dry, because now we're gonna knead the dough. Which means that we basically want to get the dough really, really smooth before we let it rise.
This is the fun part.
So you want to put a little bit of flour, just a little bit, on your dry surface. Spread it around. Might get a little messy, that's okay. And we're going to take our kind of cakey sort of dough and put it on the surface here. Then we're going to take a little more flour so that's easier to move around, and put a little bit on top.
The flour will also prevent it from sticking to your hands when you're kneading the dough.
And that's why you also want to put a little on your hands as well. This is a very hands-on recipe.
We like to get messy in first grade.
So we want to knead for about 5 minutes, and we just kind of want to get it moving around a little bit. It's going to be a little bit cakey. Some might stick to your hands. That's okay. Just want to push it out, fold it back up, push it out, fold it back up. Kind of circulate the flour inward so that it makes it more easier to move around. So just kind of plopping it up, pushing it down. Same thing, you just keep repeating that. So like I said, about 5 minutes. As you keep going on, it's going to keep sticking, so you're just going to keep adding little bits of flour. Not a whole lot, just a little bit at a time. If you add too much, it might get too dry. And then the dough is going to be really hard to work with at that point, and that's what you don't want. So you just want to add little bits of flour in at a little bit of time.
It's looking good. So while we're kneading our dough, Mr. Riggs, can you tell us what our last steps would be?
So then we're gonna once this is all done, you're gonna kind of move it into a ball, form it into a ball, and then we're gonna put that ball in a little smaller bowl. We're gonna drizzle a little bit of olive oil around it. We're gonna cover that bowl with a damp cloth and let the dough rise for about 2 hours.
So we're gonna have to be very patient while our dough rises, huh?
Yes, we do.
With this dough, you can make bread, or it makes a really nice pizza dough, so your family can make.
It doesn't just have to be bread, it can be, like she said, pizza.
Think about all the toppings you can put on it. It's a great way to get your arms a workout, huh?
Mm-hmm. Very sticky.
This would be a fun activity to do with all of the members in your family. Everybody could have an ingredient or a job, and you could all be a part of making dough. How do you know when the dough's ready, Mr. Riggs?
After about 5 minutes, should be not a whole lot of cracks when you push it outward.
Mm-hmm.
When you bring it back up, there shouldn't be too many cracks either. So that's when you know it's kind of ready. Usually, like I said, it takes about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Like I said, form it into a little ball. Now we'll get our mini bowl here. A good idea is just to spray your little mini bowl with a little bit of Pam, which is like cooking spray. And you just want to plop it right down there. I just put a little olive oil on my hands and I'll spread it around the dough. It kind of helps the dough rise and not stick so much. Then you want to take your cloth. Same thing, just like lukewarm water. Not too cold, not too hot. Don't want it really, really wet. Just want to, like a damp cloth, so you want to wring it out a little bit. Fold it up nicely, and you want to let it rise for about 2 hours.
And there you have it. In 2 hours, you'll have your dough for your pizza. Thanks, Mr. Riggs.
Bye.